Okay, so let's look at question 1 here from the CWC test. We can see that in part A we've got an exponential equation, e to the power of 3x minus 9 equals 8. The unknown is in the power, so that tells us it's an exponential. We're going to have to use logs to solve it. And this exponential has got base e, so we're going to take log base e, or ln, from both on both sides. So the first step, we've got natural logs of both sides, and now on the left we can see we've got the natural log of e to the power of something, and they are inverse of each other, so we end up just with 3x minus 9 on the left. And it's at that point that you'll get your first method mark. To carry on from there, we want to solve for x, so we've got to make x the subject on the left. So if we work our way through with that, you should end up with x equals ln 8 plus 9 all over 3. And that will get you your accuracy mark, your first accuracy mark. But the question does ask you to write the solution in its simplest form, and this is not quite the simplest form. So quite a lot of people split the fraction into two fractions quite rightly and got that far, but not quite so many people noticed that you could actually simplify it further. So this third at the front, or lots of people had it as ln 8 over 3, which is the same as a third ln 8. We need to remember that we can take that up as a power of the 8, so we end up with ln of 8 to the power of a third, which 8 to the power of a third, the cube root of 8 is 2. Alright, so that is the simplest form of the answer, and that's what you needed to get that third mark. Not many students got that third mark there, I don't think. It's an equation, so we can always check an equation by substituting it back, so we can take our value of x that we found and substitute it back into the original equation to check that we get 8. So here I've got my check. I've substituted my value of x into the equation, and it does indeed, when I put all that in my calculator, it does indeed come out to be 8. So that's part A. If we look at part B has got an equation with lns in it, so straight away that would suggest to us that we're going to need to do e to the power of at some point. First thing we need to do is get a ln on its own somewhere, so that we're able to do that e to the power of. So I'm going to try and get all my lns on the same side for a start. So I've taken the ln 4 minus y and subtracted it from both sides to get this. We've then got a natural log minus another natural log, a ln minus a ln, and hopefully from your laws of logs you remember that if you subtract one log from another, then it's actually the same as doing the log of the quotient of the two. So we've got ln of 2y plus 5 over 4 minus y on the left. And at this point we've now got a ln on its own equal to a number. It's now that we can take e to the power of both sides. So if we take e to the power of both sides, then on the left, e to the power of all of this, well, the e and the ln will cancel, and we'll end up just with 2y plus 5 over 4 minus y. And then we have to do the same to the right, so we've got equals e to the power of 2 on the right. So there's actually one method mark for getting to this stage, and then a second method mark for here. So this one is for using the laws of logs to get this quotient, and this one here for taking e to the power of both sides. We've then got to solve for y, so I definitely want to get this y out of the denominator of a fraction, so I've multiplied both sides by the 4 minus y, which gives me this stage, and then it's quite a standard procedure from here. I need to get y on its own, so I'm going to get all the y's on one side, so put the y's on the left, everything else on the right, and then I need to factorise the y out of the left hand side, and then divide through by the 2 plus e squared. So that's what I should get for my final answer. Again, it's an equation, so I can check it simply by substituting. This time I'll need to substitute into the left hand side and see what I get, and then substitute into the right hand side and check that I get the same. So down here I have substituted into the left hand side, it's given me 2.325, etc., and then same on the right hand side, and you can see it gave exactly the same answer. So that looks correct. So that's it for those questions. Go along to a subject extension if you need a bit more guidance.